Hello everybody, my name is Bob, and I am from the Jazz Police, and I am a bebop enforcer. As you can see here, I have a concert B-flat major bebop scale that I want you to learn. It is just like a regular major B-flat scale, but as you can see, there's an extra note. That extra note causes it to bop. Now, can you identify what the extra note is? I made it real easy. It's the green one. Look at the F sharp. That is your extra note. Now, all we do is add a sharp 5 to the scale, and it causes it to balance out. Now let's move on.
All right, so before I go any further, I want to make absolutely certain that I get this information to you, because this is one of the most important lessons you will ever learn in any kind of jazz theory. And it has to do with the function of a fully diminished 7 chord. In jazz, that functions like an extension of a dominant 7 chord.
But not all the time.
Unless you're in like 1930s theater or something like that, it's going to stand on its own for its own unique kind of sound. Or in Dixieland, you hear that kind of diminished thing be its own diminished thing. But in jazz, a fully diminished 7 is very much an extension of a dominant 7. So when we relate this reverse diminished scale to our playing, we're going to be using it in relationship to how it fits on a dominant 7 chord.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now I have a regular diminished scale, and it's important to understand this one before we reverse it. Now, as you can see, we build it by half steps and whole steps. This is a C diminished scale leading with the half step. See how we got the half whole progression here. Now, there is a note here that is a tritone away from the note we started on. Can you identify what it is? I made it real easy. It's the yellow one. Let's move on.
I talked about how if you're in the key of C, for example, and the third is a dominant, how you can use this scale. So you have your C major bebop scale, and then you go to your E7. So that added note in the bebop scale, which is a G sharp is the third of the E7. So if we spell that from the G sharp, that's how we get our reversed diminished scale. So whenever you're in major and the 3 is dominant, you should be thinking, oh, okay, there's that reverse diminished thing you was thinking about, which is really just the bebop scale that I've been playing all this time. But now I need to think about it this way. And it's not enough to be able to play all the right notes. Nothing is more frustrating than playing all the right notes and having it sound wrong. If you articulate it wrong, it's gonna sound wrong. Let me play an example of a major bebop scale articulated weird. Sounds corny and ridiculous. Here's how it's supposed to sound. Right? So, believe it or not, that first corny, ridiculous way that I played it, a lot of people do that. They don't realize that they're doing it because they're playing all the right notes.
Now let's go back to the original concert B-flat major bebop scale. But this time, let's start it on the added note, the F sharp. Now, can you identify the note that is a tritone away from the F sharp? I made it real easy. It's the red one. That's right, the C. Now look at what happens to the pattern once we get to the C. It reverses. So we go from half whole to whole half. You now understand what a reverse diminished scale is. Congratulations.
So when you're practicing this scale, it's very important that you be thinking about its dominant 7 application more so than its major bebop application. So it's one thing for me to play the scale and it's another thing for me to play the scale like this. Right, so that second way I did it, I was really emphasizing it as being the 5 chord, resolving to the G concert. Okay, so here are some songs that do this. So Georgia, On the Sunny Side of the Street, All of Me, 500 billion other jazz songs do this. Here's a jazz song that people play a lot, and it's really easy to identify someone that doesn't know what they're doing on this song when they get to the second chord. And that song is Chick Corea Spain. I'm going to describe Chick Corea Spain in terms of it being in D major and not B minor. I know some people refer to it as minor, but forget that for right now. Let's think about it like it's in D major. The first chord is the 4, major 7. And then the second chord, it goes down a half step to the 3 dominant. And it's that chord right there that gives it all away as to whether somebody knows what they're doing or not. Now, I'm going to throw this caveat out there. When Chick Corea solos on this song that he wrote, he plays it much more modally. It sounds like he's moving around with different key centers. Everybody else on the planet, Stevie Wonder, Eric Marienthal, and everybody else plays this very diatonically. So I'm showing you this diatonic interpretation of how to solo on the changes. The first 2 chords of Spain. So that second chord is an F sharp 7. So if you want to know what extensions to use, forget all of that. Use that D major bebop scale, but we want to think about it in terms of the dominant 7, which is the F sharp 7. So you can start on the added note, which is an A sharp. So make sure that you practice that, thinking about it as a reversed diminished scale and how that diminished scale relates to the dominant 7 chord. Here's one of the things that you can do to start transitioning from thinking about it like it's a major bebop scale into thinking about it like it's a reverse diminished scale. So I'll play around a little bit and then you guys listen to what I'm doing. I'm going to do this in concert D. So you can hear me going back and forth with treating that added note like it's the major 3rd of a dominant, or I'm treating it like it's that added note in the major bebop scale, reinforcing the major sound, or I'm reinforcing the dominant 7 sound. All right, that's all I got for you. If you guys like this kind of theoretical stuff, I want to do some more stuff for you guys. So just let me know. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share. All right, see ya.